Namgiakhona, the podcast inspiring entrepreneurials in South Africa. Because if it's going to be, it's up to me.
I didn't really think of myself as an entrepreneur at the time. You must just take your own life, your destiny into your own hands. There's always an opportunity to improve yourself.
Nazo, boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome back again to Namgiakhona, the podcast that is going to show us that even your dreams can come true. Because if you make it a point that your dreams come true, it can only be for you and the way that you want it to happen. And we are inspired today, once again, by a fantastic guest, which I'm very excited to have, who's going to be sharing her story as an entrepreneur. But before we do begin into today's sessions, please remember to like this video, comment down at the bottom if you have a question, and we will always be there to answer it, especially if you were inspired. Tell us how you were inspired. And if you like this video, share it with a friend. From me, your host, Buntu Majaja, I'm happy to introduce for us today Dineo Dioma, the co-founder and chief operating officer of CapeBioSA.
Thank you so much, Buntu, for having me.
You've done fantastic work as an entrepreneur, and we want to hear this journey of yours as an entrepreneur. How did it start, and when did you decide that this would be the journey you would take?
Okay, great. So thanks for that, Buntu. I would say my story started, long time ago as a young child. I loved school. I was actually quite a nerd, really an academic. I think I also blame that on my parents. Both of them worked for the Department of Education, so I was really like that child that really couldn't not perform overall. So I just naturally had a real love for school. I loved learning. I loved doing well as well. I made sure that, those A's and those distinctions, I worked really hard for that. And that's just really, it's been something that's in my nature. But at the same time, I was also very curious. I'd love to experiment, with it. Was like, with electronics, I'd always be changing plugs, getting electrocuted every now and then. Or I'd be like baking in the kitchen, trying different recipes. And, all these things were just almost prepping me and gearing me to, study engineering. I've always really considered myself to be quite, innovative. So then I went over in matric. I, decided to study engineering. I studied metallurgical and materials engineering at Wits University. And around about the same time, I also got the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation scholarship, which is really a scholarship that, grooms students with a potential to be entrepreneurs. They basically groom them to have an entrepreneurial mindset, which was quite interesting for me because, I didn't really think of myself as an entrepreneur at the time. Clearly, they saw something in me that I wasn't aware of at that time. But one thing I did know was that I definitely wanted to change, the world that I lived in.
I need to interject there. I thought that's very interesting that you felt that there's something more. You felt ambitious, and that you wanted to impact and change your world, your society, your community. And it's interesting that start is the starting point, or one of the starting points for you. Where did that come from? I don't know if every young person can wake up at some point to realize and connect with that actually there's something that is wrong in society, but not only is it wrong, but I can change it, or I want to change it. Is that something you've always realized in you as well, or when did that connect for you?
I think living in South Africa, we've got so many social, economic challenges that we face. I mean, we've got poverty, we've got gender-based violence, we've got inequality, abuse, so many things that, we're faced with on a day-to-day basis. It becomes very difficult for you to almost become immune to these challenges and not want to do something. But also, I think it goes back to my upbringing as well. as I mentioned, I would always work hard, and even just in terms of like grades and academics, it was something that I really did value. But one of the things that my parents did teach me is that yes, you can do well in life or academically, or but not, no one owes you anything. You must just take your own life, your destiny into your own hands, and really just push hard as best as you can, and use what you have to really just create the future that you want for yourself.
I love what you're saying about, where you are is not going to define where you're going. It's up to you. Let's go into that real quick. What, for you, what is growth mindset? Like, what was your key takeaway about growth mindset and how it changed your life?
So that definitely your potential and your abilities, including your intellectual abilities, is not fixed. We stress so much on IQ that, hey, this person was born in Ubutali, and that's it. You can never compete against this person. You'll never be as good as this person. They were just born that way. And when you are, you'll always be sitting at your 50s and 40s, and that's your life's lot. Okay, you just have to accept that. So the book taught me that, there's always an opportunity to improve yourself. You just need to change your mindset, how you view progress, and also be willing to try new things and challenge yourself, right? So you're also speaking about resilience. How did I develop resilience? Do you know how you develop resilience? Is by putting yourself out there, getting into opportunities where you will fail, and then realizing that failure is not that bad. You will not die. So, if you're too afraid and you have a fixed mindset and you've got this, everything must be perfect, it will be very difficult for you to try out new things so that, you can grow and progress as a person and eventually even have that growth mindset. So, the idea of fixed potential and this, it being your lot in life, that if you've got an IQ of X, that's what it will be for the rest of your life. I'm no longer, part of that party. I believe in progress. I believe that, if you apply yourself and you open up yourself to learning, you open up yourself to failure as well. You'll develop as a person, you'll improve as a person, and that will ultimately just really make you even a happier person, because you won't take failure that personally as well, and you'll actually do more, and you'll achieve more in life.
You sound like, you're saying that we should always be working on ourselves, and we never complete. For you, how do you work on yourself? What are some of the things that you think are important skills, attitudes, and values to be successful in any environment, to be entrepreneurial, whether it's in your own business or as a corporate leader or in academia? Noting that you yourself are strong academics in academia.
Yeah, so I would definitely say that, always be open to learning, and also be humble enough to learn from other people and accept that it's okay to not know everything. There's someone who you can lean on, or, reach out to, who knows more than you can, or you do at that point, that you can reach out to. So yeah, I think really the key thing for me is like being open to learning, and also doing a lot of self-reflection. So I do that quite often just to gauge where I am and where I'm going, because sometimes you plan things and then, you go and you say, you're going down this particular path, down that path, and you're like, you need to almost always do a sense check. I'm like, am I going right down the right path? Like, say you are, in matric, and you're like, you want to end up being in, business doing XYZ, or, being in the medical industry, and you're looking at what you're studying right now. But, also look at what other opportunities are you exposing yourself to that move you in that direction.
But I think what's powerful that you're saying is that if you want to change, you can. And if it's going to change, it's up to you. You got to reflect, look at what you did, look at where you want to go. And I think those are very powerful, aspects that I'm sure are some of the things that have brought you now as a successful business person, in an innovative space. And so when you look at, where you are now, in business and as a co-founder at CapeBioSA, and you were to reflect with the 16-year-old Dineo Dioma, if they were here in front of you, and you wanted to share closing words for them, what would be the key thing that you'd want them to remember? And what would you say?
I would definitely say try things out. That's like if I was 16, I would have started a business on the side. I would have been, even something so small as selling, suckers and sweets to Chepisi to your classmates. That is such a good start. People don't really understand how valuable that experience is. We think entrepreneurship and we think big buildings, being listed on the JSE or, I don't know, Forbes 30 under 30. If you can, yes, you can get to those points, but start small. Even like I'm saying, selling things to your classmates. That is a great example of like just getting started. So I definitely would have done that a bit more. I think I was really a nerd. It helped me, but I wish I could have done more things. I would have played more sports as well, because what sports also teaches you is teamwork and being able to work well with people, and how that also just helped me was that in any organization, no organization or no business, in order for it to be successful, is built by one person. So you have to learn to work with people. And fortunately, I think I just learned quite early on to interact well with people, but I think that skill would have been further enhanced if I played team sports like hockey, soccer, netball, and the works. So yeah, just exposing yourself to a lot more. Don't be so one-dimensional, only focusing on academics. This is good, it helped me, but just try and do a bit more.
Fantastic. So get involved, guys. Learn to work with people and put on a side hustle. Imagine if all young South Africans had a side hustle. Yes, you do well at school, but have your side hustle as well. And I think those are very powerful words, Dineo, hitting home, hitting strong. And thank you so much, of course, for sharing your story and being a continued inspiration. I think from Namgia Corner podcast, we want to wish you more success and prosperity going forward, and looking forward to that JSE listing soon.
Thank you, Buntu, for the confidence there. But thank you for having me. I mean, as I mentioned, I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship and education, and I want to see more young people becoming entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much. There you got it, folks. People of the soil, children of Africa. If you were inspired or something touched your heart today, don't forget to comment and share it with a friend, because that might be a good conversation to start a side hustle together with a new partner. So thank you again from me, your host, Buntu Majaja. We will see you next time. Stay inspired and be entrepreneurial. Follow us on social media and find us on WhatsApp. Namgia Corner.